The two bands Ritchie Blackmore detested the most. One of the most renowned guitarists in rock, Ritchie Blackmore is primarily recognized for his unique fusion of heavy rock and classical music, together with his contributions to Deep Purple and Rainbow, helped define the sound of a generation known as the Man in Black. Blackmore is considered by many to be one of the greatest and most influential guitarists in the hard rock and heavy metal genres. He started his career in the early 1960s as a session musician for producer Joe Meek while playing with a number of bands, including the Outlaws. In 1968, Blackmore and keyboardist John Lord co-founded Deep Purple after drummer and singer Chris Curtis invited them to do so. However, following the release of the band's 1974 album Stormbringer, Blackmore publicly voiced his displeasure with the band's musical direction, especially its incorporation of funk and soul elements. After leaving Deep Purple in 1975, Blackmore formed the hard rock band Rainbow, which combined elements of hard rock with Baroque music. Given his lengthy and illustrious career, it's no surprise that he has strong opinions about other bands and has never been afraid to voice them. Here are two bands he hated the most: The Police, which Ritchie Blackmore had already released 2 albums with by the time The Police formed in 1977. The Police, fronted by Sting, disbanded just a year before Deep Purple reunited, but Blackmore was not a fan of The Police. His work with Rainbow, as well as his iconic riffs and solos with Deep Purple, are now etched in rock and roll history. He has inspired countless musicians and helped millions of record sales with both Deep Purple and Rainbow. When asked if he had any worries about the Deep Purple 1984 reunion, the guitarist candidly stated in a 1987 interview with Metal Hammer that he detested the band and thought many bands from that era sounded too much like them. Blackmore cited The Police as evidence that his band was headed in the right direction, saying, "I realized there was a need for our kind of music during the first part of the tour in Australia because only ZZ Top was doing that aggressive style and everyone else sounded like The Police. And let me just say I hate The Police." The Rolling Stones are one band that has not avoided Blackmore's criticism. He detests them greatly, at least since the 1970s, for what he considers to be their extreme lack of originality, which he finds intolerable. Even though the Rolling Stones are widely regarded as one of the best rock bands of all time, there are always going to be detractors. In addition to writing their own songs, the Rolling Stones also covered a lot of blues songs, which never pleased guitarist Ritchie Blackmore, who claimed in a 1978 interview with Trouser Press that he thought the band was a bunch of idiots who were stealing riffs from Chuck Berry. The Beatles and the Stones were basically Nick from Chuck Berry riffs, and I wasn't really into them all that vocally. I thought they were morons. Chuck Berry was alright at times. I'm frank, but I don't have time for the Stones. I understand why they're regarded, and their rhythms are excellent and consistent on tape. Despite this, I don't like them. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you find this content interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest updates. See you in the next video.